Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the Voice of Reason. Wanted to conduct a midday update of the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia. We can confirm now that a Ethiopian National Defense Forces Air Force Mi-35 HIND attack gunship, a export variant of the Mi-24 attack gunship produced by the Russian Federation. This version again was originally designed as a firing platform for the AT-6 anti-tank guided weapon system, and clearly from the videos that we are seeing, they are obviously not utilizing this Mi-35 and its the AT-6 anti-tank guided weapon system. They're clearly utilizing free flight rockets and its guns, its autocannons on the aircraft. So what does this video tell us? Well, it shows that the Air Force pilots are flying extremely low. They're operating at what we call nap of the earth, and obviously they're flying low to avoid being engaged by man-portable surface-to-air missiles. Again, if you go real high, you can avoid man pads, and if you go real low, you can also avoid man portables anti-aircraft systems. But again, and they're also probably doing that for the easier identification of targets, and then to be able to use their autocannons and rockets to the best accuracy as possible. But unfortunately, when you do fly that low, if you do end up getting engaged by man pads, or quite possibly in this case a 23 millimeter anti-aircraft weapon system. Not saying that was the system utilized, but again, when you fly very low, you can be targeted by the 23 millimeter anti-aircraft systems or other anti-aircraft systems. In Iraq, it was not uncommon to have RPG-7s being utilized against very low-flying Black Hawk helicopters and other aircraft as well. And then obviously not just RPG-7s. When you fly that low, you can be engaged by small arms from the ground. And then obviously, inherently, an AK-47 probably is not going to bring down a Hind, but a heavier caliber machine gun could certainly strike the aircraft in an area that is not armored, and quite possibly bring down that aircraft. But again, we don't know what system was utilized to bring down the Mi-35 or also the Mi-24 export variant. But again, it looks as if it was brought down, and it would also appear that they are using multiple aircraft to look for targets of opportunity on the ground. So again, the terrain is indicative of the Afar region, and probably that aircraft was operating within the area of Samara here on our map, quite possibly this airport here. So again, helicopters can really go anywhere, land anywhere, even a parking lot. They can base helicopters out of parking lots. Now, with that being said, you have to have the ability to transport mechanics and personnel who can care for these types of aircraft. They're complicated machines that require lots of maintenance and preventive maintenance checks and such. And you usually have a fairly large complement of personnel supporting the actual aircraft, to include persons who load and unload ammunition, and then obviously the transportation of munitions and ammunition for the aircraft. It's a fairly complicated operation when you're employing attack helicopters. But again, in terms of was one actually shot down? So yes, it does appear that that was the case, and it does appear to be a Hind variant gunship, and not a Mi-8/18 transport aircraft. In other news, we're also starting to hear more and more reports that of the significant activity on the ground by the state of Eritrea, the despotic state of Eritrea that is ran by Isaias Afwerki. He's been dictator of Eritrea for 30 years, but it would again appear that significant intelligence resources and security resources from Eritrea are on the ground inside of Addis Ababa. And according to intel, that could be fueling some of the ethnic cleansing that we are seeing inside of Addis Ababa. As we know, there are some fairly large-scale arrests of persons who are of Tigrayan descent inside of Addis Ababa, and quite possibly that could be being spurred on by some of the intelligence activity by the Eritrean state intelligence services, which are definitely on the ground in Addis Ababa, both in a supporting role and also a security role for the regime of Abiy Ahmed. But again, the significance of this is probably greater than initially thought. But we will continue to monitor their situation and report on that ongoing issue. But again, as we know, the United States has levied more sanctions against Eritrea, and quite possibly the reason for that is the uptick in both security and intelligence activity inside of the former state of Ethiopia. We will continue to monitor the situation and report as events warrant. Have a great day, everybody.